Nowadays, with high-end cases, you have two possibilities to stand out. The case can be extremely cheap compared to the competition, or you need some sort of uniqueness that makes you stand out. And this is most definitely an eye-catcher. I mean, look at this. How cool is this? So today we are going to have a look at Azza's new Celesta 340 case. But before we go over that unique feature, let's go over all the other features. The case comes in a black grayish coat with all of these holes around the front panel and around the side. On the left side we have a tempered glass side panel which already reveals a separate power supply tunnel. Next to that tunnel we have a hard drive cage with support for two 3.5 or two 2.5 inch drives, and it is removable. Nice job there. Behind the mainboard we have two already mounted 2.5 inch brackets which can be used there or just moved on top of the power supply. Inside we get support for up to ATX motherboard size, while the motherboard area is already lowered. Due to that we can mount two 120s or two 140 fans on top with a up to 280 rad and a magnetic dust filter. In the back there is another spot for a 120 fan with radiator, but it is the front that gets interesting. Here we can mount up to 3 120 or 140 fans with a up to 360 rad, so this puppy is a water cooling champion. The I/O on here is a bit of a stretch. The usuals, only one USB 3.0 and a dedicated LED button, which we will talk about in a minute. Now in terms of space, there was something done here. There are multiple cutouts around the mainboard for cables to pass through, and because there is nothing blocking the front, the whole interior is completely empty, which allows for some pretty big GPUs up to 350mm long. Okay, having the obvious features out of the way, let's talk about that unique thing. So if we take a look inside, there is this white plastic sheet with a ton of holes. The front panel also got a whack ton of holes on the front and on the sides. And now if we remove the front, we can see that there is a LED strip attached to the side which is pointing in the direction along that white sheet. And now this is really cool. Once you turn on the LEDs, and they are connected with a 3-pin addressable RGB header and SATA for power. Anyway, once you turn them on, the LEDs will now shine all over that piece, and because of the white color, you are able to see the colors all across the sheet. That way, from the inside, we have a giant LED sheet that shines in the color of our choice. What is going on? Now, looking from the front, we have a really cool effect where, because there are less and less holes going up, we have a gradient type of color wave disappearing in the top. I mean, this is looking so cool. Of course, you can customize that LED sheet with your usual software, or we have a LED button on top which allows to switch between 13 different RGB modes. But having mentioned all the features, let's now build something in it and see how it actually performs. Alright, having built in this, let's get over the things I've liked. The space in here is more than enough. Due to the lowered motherboard and the cutouts around it, it was really easy to route any cables to their place. And even though the cable management is pretty basic, it is not an issue in this case. The amount of places for radiators is great. One in the back, one in the top, one in the front, and fans all around it. And the fans in the front have a real purpose in here. With the amount of holes in the front and on both of the sides, there is more than enough air that gets into the case. And even if that's not enough, in the bottom there is a big hole that lets even more air get in. A small side note, but I want to mention that the fact that the hard drive cage is removable is really nice and always makes me happy. Another point that I really liked is the mounting mechanism of the side panel. Instead of those hooks, the pieces are just railed in place, while two metal pieces in the front secure it from falling out, and then of course everything is tightened up with screws. Now coming to the obvious point, that LED sheet in the front. I mean, this is so cool. You can customize it as much as you want, and it is just great from every angle. But this also lets me transition to the next section, things that could have been better. Now, don't get me wrong, I think this sheet is unique and looks great. But if we take a look inside of the front panel, there is only one LED strip with 11 LEDs. Now, because the light is only shining from one side, it is slowly fading away until you can see a bit of white color at the end. Now, if there would have been two LEDs, one on each side, this would not have happened and the colors would be way more vivid. And there is another potential design issue that may annoy you, and that is due to the sheet being white. If we turn off the LEDs, we will be left with a big white sheet, and that may look really odd if you have all black components like I have. But I have to say, you can easily fix that issue if you throw in a big ass radiator or just go for white hardware to begin with. Now, there are also things that definitely need to be upgraded. The first one would be I/O. This case came out in September 2020 and there are still USB 2.0s on there. This is not acceptable. The other thing are the feet. Even though they are not bad, they are not great by any means. Having rectangular feet would have fit into the design, but I have to give them credit for the grey coat they put on them. That was really good. Okay, so a conclusion. I love it. Versatile, large amount of space inside, removable hard drive cage, cable management, which is okay, mounting of the side panels and the airflow. All of these are on point. And then of course the LED sheet. I have not seen this before and I think it looks great in here, and that there are way more application possibilities for something like this. And all of this is quite impressive if you know the price. 50 euros in Europe and $60 on Amazon US right now. So all in all, it is a really unique and good looking case, and it has a pretty high value for the money. And I would most definitely recommend it. Okay, so great case, but the video has to end at some point. I will leave the affiliate links for the Azza Celesta 340 in the description below for those who want to check it out. I would really appreciate if you could tell me what you think about this video with a thumb up, thumb down or a comment in the comment section below. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notifications button to get a message when we find another cool piece of hardware. Anyway, hope to see you on the next one, but until then, have a look at one of these totally random videos. See ya!